We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Hello.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steve and Jack Butella.
and I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about how to use virtual assistants correctly and incorrectly.
This is going to be
It's
good.
kind of a housekeeping topic, but again, this is honestly one of those things that just kind of changed our lives. And it's certainly, if you're starting out, can really make your life a lot easier for not a lot of money.
You think this is not I don't want to say important topic, but I think this is a really, really important topic.
So do
Because
I.
when I read it, I quickly said, oh, I got this. I made a couple notes because it's really easy to think they can tackle more than they can or just send them out there without clear direction. And we've been using
We took the same
virtual
notes.
assistants for a long time, many years. And I'll tell you right now, I was thinking this was bad. I was afraid of it. I'm like, how can you trust?
You did. You fought me
I
on that for a
did.
while. I remember that.
What's even funnier is one of our star employees back, she moved on to a different state and all good things. But even Jen, who had her own VA company for a while, you guys may remember Jen when we had Title Mind years ago. Anyway, Jen had her own VA company when I hired her, and she would only use people that she knew,
Right.
like other military moms and things like that, where she could see them, and monitor them. And she thought this was nuts, and later said, "Yep." She said, "I'm wrong. This is great.
Yeah.
These guys are good."
Right.
Oh, cool. I'm glad we're doing this topic.
Good. Today's topic?
First, let's take a question
Sorry.
posted by one of our members from our
I was
online
thinking
community.
about Jen.
It's all good. At
wonder how she's doing.
landinvestors.com. It's free. We'll talk about Jen. Janet says, I'm at the point where I need to hire my first employee. Do you have any thoughts or experience on this, or perhaps what's happened to you when you had to hire your first person? Love it.
I hired my first employee when I was still working out of my house, and it was one of the happiest days of my life. And, that first employee ends up being like your assistant. You don't hire them because you just need them to do deeds or you just need them to do acquisitions, or they do all the stuff you don't want to do. And there are certain people in the advanced group that still don't have any people working for them at all. Jill and I are not like that. We tend to over labor stuff. And it's okay. I mean, because I'll tell you what, it just wrecks my life if I have to do a bunch of stuff I don't want to do. I won't do it. That's the problem.
Exactly.
You're not as bad as I am about that. You actually will do stuff you don't want to do.
I do. I just get through it, power through, get it done.
I gave my niece a little speech on vacation a few weeks ago during the holiday. I said, you get to be of a certain age and a certain socioeconomic, income level, tax bracket. And I just refuse to do anything I don't want to do, almost ever.
That's true.
I'm trying
It's
to think
very
about
difficult at times.
I'm not going to wash my own car. I'm just not. There's a bunch of stuff like that. And so
Yes.
that's a good example. It's too bad you can't get a virtual assistant to wash your car.
That would be good.
They might
But you can
be.
get a virtual assistant to hire the people to wash your car.
Yeah.
That you can do. So Janet, what else for Janet to hire her first person?
I would absolutely go first. I would take all the stuff that you can give to a virtual assistant before you go hire somebody. Because what we have are like department heads that have their own virtual assistants, and then so the people in our office actually direct virtual assistants to do work, and they manage those people.
Exactly.
And it's structured really well. We have way more virtual assistants in the Philippines than we do actual employees.
It's perfect. Everybody gets kind of excited when they're hired here. I'm like, you're going to get your own assistant. And they're like,
Yeah.
really? Like, yep. And you better use them because I'm hiring you because I need you right here. We can talk about it. You understand this. And then you direct them for all the little tasks that don't need to be, your brain. basically your experience.
This is actually
and then
the
we're going to
top-
talk about it.
This is the topic.
Cool.
Using today's topic, using virtual assistants correctly and incorrectly. This is the meat of the show. Did you know that the vast majority of the time that you go through a drive-through restaurant and you talk into that little speaker, they're talking to somebody overseas.
Can I take your order, please?
You're talking to somebody overseas.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that amazing?
No, I didn't know
It's
that.
a perfect example of what.
For real?
Yeah.
And they're just doing it so that
Yep.
you drive up to the clown,
Yep.
and the clown is in another country.
In China or Philippines or India. Usually India.
Interesting. And they don't seem to have an accent, and they are typing it in.
There are people in the Philippines and in India. For whatever reason, those two companies. I'm not picking on anybody's country. It's just for whatever reason, there's a lot of call centers out of those two countries, and they have full blown American programs, American accent programs now. They started about 10 years ago, so I can't tell the difference at all.
I can.
And I'll tell you what,
It's
the
funny.
reason that they do it, fast food companies do it, is because it's scripted,
Yeah.
and there was a very specific way to upsell. That's what supersize it is. Would you like fries with that? Would you like to supersize that?
I love your examples. This is really kind of funny.
So it translates.
Friday, can you tell?
It doesn't just translate in that example to a lower wage. It translates to higher revenue
True.
in scripted stuff. So that's just one tiny example.
Efficiency.
I know you have a lot of notes.
Efficiency. Okay, so
my big picture point is, and then you can go ahead. There's stuff that's appropriate for overseas virtual assistants, and there's stuff that's not. And that's the hardest part of this, is deciding what's appropriate.
So here's my list. Like we talked about, we give all of our employees, one or two or whatever they need, VAs at their disposal. And it's great because sometimes we have VAs that work on our clocks because we'll need them during the day to help with processing orders, managing sites, doing some things like that. And then other times we have VAs that are working, opposite us, which is great because we can give them tasks and they go off and do it. The next morning you walk in and it's done. The project's there, which is beautiful. And some people don't know that they will work 24/7. You can kind of tell them what you need and what you want. It's great. The proper way to use them, the correct way to use them, is by giving them, we have found, very clear direction, videos often, because sometimes when you write things out, you can get lost in translation. But when you show them a video of you going to a site, maybe, let me give you an example of a perfect task for a VA. You are doing your due diligence on 20 properties, these calls that came in over the weekend, and you want maybe screenshots filled in of what the property looks like. You want where they stand in the taxes. You want them to go to the county website, input the tax situation so you know how much they owe, things like that. Make a video showing you going to this site, how to log in, the exact screenshot that you want, how you want it stored here, and then you're going to wake up the next day and you're going to go, poof, now I can sit and quickly run down the list of 20 properties and figure out the ones I want to buy. I have all the information that I need now.
Anything you can script and anything that's a repetitive task can be sent overseas pretty effectively. If you can film yourself doing it, we use a product called Snagit, which is a screenshot software. If you're on a Mac, I think all that stuff's built in. If you can film yourself doing it and talk somebody through it, voiceover kind of thing, then you can pay somebody $2 or $3 an hour to do the whole thing.
They're really good too. And I always say, have something that they're held accountable for. They got to fill in all these columns or even just check that they did this, check that they did that. So then it's really simple. Because sometimes too, you might have a couple people that they share the responsibility and they work together as a team. It's not always the same person the whole time. So that's why you make it really easy for them to share the videos. They're not really free thinkers, but again, they're good at research. But again, what you tell them, I need to know the top, this based on these parameters. And like you said, menial tasks. Here's the incorrect way to use a virtual assistant. To ask them to do things like pick a county for me.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Price my mailer.
No.
Run my business.
Nope.
Thank you.
Answer my phone? Yes.
Then, and with clear
Yeah.
instructions. We still, by the way, we don't use a VA for our phones though. I'll tell you, I have an in-house staff, but if I didn't, I would use Pat Live because it really is that.
Well, that's a virtual assistant. I
Sure.
think.
Well, that's true. You're just a VA. So we use them for that, not an overseas VA. So
Right.
what else?
Are they American?
I believe they are. I think they're in Florida. I could be wrong on that one, but I believe they are.
We have a product called Smart Pricing. This is a great example of how to use VA. When we send a house mailer out, we get comparison values before we send the house mailer out to price each individual asset correctly. We don't do it with land. And so it requires a lookup on realtor.com, Redfin, DataTree, and a bunch of other ones, Zillow, Trulia. They all have different algorithms for what they think that address should be priced. So when you divide those and take an average, and then you knock 30% off or however you price your mailers, that is a perfect project for the Philippines to complete. And that's one where you go to sleep and it's in your inbox when you wake up, like Jill said. I mean, they've done 40, 50,000 unit smart pricing for us in one night.
Exactly.
They just bring in armies full of people. So and it's incredibly cost efficient.
They can do deeds.
Yeah. Most of the back end work on offers to owners is done in the Philippines under the direction of Omar, who's the department head, the manager.
They can do mail merges. They can do those kind of things. It's great.
So, back to Janet's question, the more I'm sitting here thinking about it and talking through it, I'm not sure. I think maybe, you could very effectively make a couple $1,000,000 a year buying and selling land and houses with one person. Like earlier this week, somebody's partner was their daughter. And so, that's a perfect situation where the virtual assistants can report to the daughter.
That's true.
And you could really effectively probably take 90% of the actual work out of your life with one employee and some people from the Philippines reporting to that one employee.
I like that. The other nice thing about virtual assistants is you can turn it on and turn it off as needed. When you hire someone full time, you're going to be there's going to be weeks probably and days that you're looking for stuff for them to do.
Yep.
Because there might be a lull, you might have anything going on. You take a trip. That doesn't mean they're going to take a trip.
Right.
Kind of thing. So I love
There's
the
no hiring,
flexibility
there's no
of
firing,
that.
there's no insubordination issues, there's no not showing up for work.
Right. You don't have to worry about the legality of the tax things. It's
Yeah.
all contract.
Yeah.
Third party, you get an invoice, you pay it. It's great. And I love too because you have a team. Usually it's like who we use, she has an army of people. There's times I need 10 and there's times I need 1.
That's
and
right.
She turns it up, turns it down. Just let me know what you need. She gets them in there.
Yep.
It really. So yeah, I came to eat my words. I do this
That's
often.
Okay. That's all right.
But with the whole virtual assistant thing, and I'm really glad. It's a great, great, great thing. It makes me want to. There's times that now that we're talking, doing this show too, I'm sitting here thinking about how just even my household being run. I'm like, shucks, I should be using a VA for this. I could use a VA for researching the stuff I need to do to find the doctor.
Ordering groceries.
Something like that. Yep. I'm going to make some changes.
What you don't want to do is go out there and try to find a VA yourself. We have one company that we work with, and everybody in our Land and House Academy group uses them. We certainly don't mark it up or anything like that. You don't have to be part of the group. Just let us know, and we're happy to share you the contact information.
Just reach out to support. Yeah.
Support@landacademy.com.
We'll happily share it. And yeah, we don't get a piece of it, but they're
Totally
good people.
reliable. I can't think of one incident that I've had since we've been working with them.
Exactly.
Not a single negative incident.
Yeah. And they help us with some sensitive things too. We have given them access to some of our accounts, because we need them and we trust
I've had them clone competitors' websites, and they do it overnight, and they do a great job.
That's good. That's cool. Happy you could join us today. Don't forget, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're right next door at the House Academy Show.
Next week, join us on the Land Academy Show for another interesting episode. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We
It's Friday.
need to get on our bikes.
Yeah.
I think it's a good bike day.
I agree.
We had a good week. Let's hit it.
Yep.
The Land Academy show remains commercial free for you, our listener. So wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening, please subscribe and rate us there.
We're Steve and Jill.
and
Information
inspiration
to buy undervalued property.